You're just done with grade 10, and you're on this crossroad now of whether you should be choosing plus 2 or A levels. You search it up online and see a few videos on YouTube talking about it, but you don't exactly get what you're searching for. Then this is the right video for you. Today we are talking about A levels in Nepal, and if you're interested in academics and academic lifestyle, then feel free to subscribe. Over the years, A-Levels has gained a huge boost in Nepal due to its recognition by international universities, and with that, many of the colleges has integrated A-Levels into their coursework. Because A-Levels is very recognizable and is a pathway to international universities, it is also very competitive for its exams, and that's what scares most of the student. But worry not. A-Levels is just like Plus 2, a foundational course which is run by Cambridge International. It has advanced subsidiary and A2, which is equivalent to 11 and 12 that we are doing in Plus 2. While A-Level gives you the pathway to international recognition and to the top-notch colleges and universities around the world, doing it in itself has a lot of pros and cons, especially in Nepal. Number 1, A-Level gives you the flexibility to choose. When I personally started my A-Levels journey, I used to have physics, chemistry, maths, computer science, and a compulsory English general paper. And when I finished the first month of my college, I started to realize that I don't really enjoy chemistry, and chemistry won't be that useful for me in the future, as I was not planning to study any science subjects in the future. So I realized that I could just drop chemistry out. So I dropped chemistry out after the first month of studying it, and I opted for A-level business. So in A levels, you have the flexibility to choose your subjects however you want, but having the right subjects also means going to the right colleges, because not all colleges provide all subjects in Nepal. Number two is that A levels is a very up-to-date syllabus curriculum, which is not very much seen in plus 2, because A levels, they keep on updating their syllabuses, books and resources to match with the international standards and how world is progressing. So even with computer science that I was taking, the course was constantly changing in 2 years, because computer science has so much of developments and students need to learn new things instead of just studying what we were studying 20 years back. So it is a very up-to-date and standard course. Number three benefit of studying A levels, which can also be a con, which I'll discuss later in the video, is that you can give your exams whenever you want. A levels schedule their exams every 6 months, and the best thing about it is that suppose you wanted to score 95 out of 100 in an exam and you only got 90, then you have the option to be like, okay, I want to give this exam again. You give it again, and for some reason you don't get 95, you actually get lower than 90, maybe 85, then you can still choose to use the 90 marks that you got in your previous exam, which is a very nice thing to maintain your student portfolio, and you can choose what grades you want to send to your universities. So it is a good point. If you're doing your research by yourself, you must know by now that A levels cost more than the standard plus 2 fees around Nepal. And most of the colleges, when I was researching for my own admissions in the A levels colleges, I found that most of the colleges cost 5x more than the standard plus 2 fees, which was surprising for me at first. And then I applied for scholarship. I got a very good feasible scholarship. So you should always ask colleges if they are willing to provide scholarships, or if there is any chance if you can get scholarship after you score certain grades in certain tests. Then some colleges provide good scholarship, while it's not the case for most of the colleges. At least back 2 years back it was not. I do get why it's so costlier, because all of the books, the resources, the exam papers that are coming are all international. So it is important to Nepal just for you to have access to the international education. But it is, according to Nepal's standard of living, a very costlier education system for most people. Number two, even though A levels is rising on its demand, it's very limited even now. Even I am not from Valley, and just to study A levels, I shifted to Valley for 2 years to complete my course. These are the colleges that provide A levels in Nepal. As you can see, most of them are saturated in Kathmandu, Lalitpur, and Bhaktapur, and only a few of them are outside Valley. So, if you're like me, not living in any of these places, then you must be willing to move outside of your house or stay away from home for a few years just to get this education. Number three, it can take toll on your mental health. It is a very rigorous course, as I have talked before, and it requires a lot of hard work and practice. Unlike grade 10, 9, 10, 8, all the grades that you have studied, it's not exactly like that. Even with my personal humble experience, I used to be a very good student, the top 2 student of my class forever, never getting anything below A plus, and getting an A was a curse for me. Now that I look back, it's a very toxic thinking process, but that was who I was before. And while I joined A levels, it was very different. For grade 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, what I was doing was I was memorizing whatever I could, and that's what used to get me good grades. But with A levels, that's not the case. You need to understand the concept, you need to have critical thinking to be able to explain the scenarios surrounding around the question. These are the things for the literary type of courses, like I took business and I also had a compulsory English general paper. So you need to be able to provide the context, the thinking, and a better perspective than others for that certain question. Not taking literary courses, and if you're taking physics, math, computer science, it is also very advanced. In instance, I was studying for my computer science test in my cousin's place, and she was doing BIT ninth semester, I believe, back then, and we were both solving assembly language questions, which was a kind of accomplishment, but it also tells you it is a very complex subject in comparison to what you're doing in plus two. Also, how it can take a toll on your mental health is that, as you've seen, most of the colleges are in the valley, and if just like me you're not in the valley and you have to move out, then staying away from your parents, just shifting into a new environment and not being able to achieve the things that you had once set in your mind can be a very tolling thing for your mental health. But with time and with hard work and dedication, you can overcome it. But this is one thing to be considering while you're thinking of moving out of your house just to be doing A levels. Now, the topic that confuses a lot of students: which college should you be going to? This is actually the most important part that you should be thinking about. The college that you go to decides the next 2 years of your life. What kind of subjects you are getting, what kind of teachers you are getting, what kind of friends you are getting involved with, and what kind of support you can get from your college. Now, you might think I'm going a little overboard with the college, which college should you choose thing, but trust me, there is a reason why some colleges produce toppers after toppers after toppers every year, and some colleges don't really have the students who can even pass their A levels after 2 years. That is certainly a reason. So while you're choosing for your A levels, I highly suggest you at least have 5 good colleges in your list and make sure you know what your goal is, what you're looking for. If you're looking for a college that can give you a title of a topper, you need to go through such schools. If your aim is to go to a good T20 university in US or a good university in UK, then you should be going to colleges that have already pushed students to go to such universities. And also considering A levels, fees differs from college to college, so you should also be considering what your parents can pay and sort out at least 5 good colleges. After you have sorted those 5 colleges, you need to be able to see if your focus is on extracurricular activities, can they give you extracurricular activities? How much extracurricular activities have they won? Do they have extra clubs, extra social um, activities that they do? Because if your goal is to go to US or any countries outside Nepal, then it is very necessary that you have a good extracurricular list. I have some of my friends who have excellent grades, but no good standing out extracurricular activities. Everything is so dispersed. That's why they didn't get a good cost of attendance, a good scholarship into universities, and even though they are getting accepted, how can you go when you have to pay 30 to 40 lakhs per semester? So you need to be very considerate about your colleges and what they can offer to you. Now, the most interesting part. Myths about A levels, which I've gathered from internet and some from my friends. So the number one is the most interesting one, which is that you can't be doing MBBS or engineering if you have done A levels in Nepal, which is not true because if you have done the specific subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, the typical science subject, and mathematics, then you can obviously apply for MBBS entrance exam or engineering entrance exam, and Nepal government acknowledges A levels as equivalent subjects, as an equivalent education coursework. But with that, I would also like to say that if your future plan is to actually go to MBBS or engineering in Nepal, then I highly suggest you don't do A levels and you go for plus two, because the road work towards plus two to MBBS preparation or engineering preparation is much easier path than going to do A levels and then going for MBBS or engineering. So I highly suggest, if that's your future plan, then you should go for plus two, which is cheaper and also a very easier way to do that. Number two is that it takes forever to complete A levels, which is true and also not true. As I've told you earlier that in the which colleges you should choose section, that it also depends on how much your college puts pressure on you to complete it within 2 years, but it's also more about you. With the freedom to choose when you can give your exam and what time and what exam month is suitable for you, it comes with a sense of too much comfort, and some students take it so comfortably that they just don't study and they just feel like, okay, even if I mess this exam up, I still have more exams that I could give, and which is a very wrong way of thinking, because how can you think it's okay to mess up this exam just so you could give the another one? It's not. You need to work harder for this one so that you can complete it within 2 years. And that's the thing. It's not about A levels. It's morely about who is giving it and how serious you are to give the exams right now. That's the thing. Number three and the last myth is that doing A levels is the direct gateway into good universities and abroad countries, which is not true, because as I've already completed my A levels and applied to universities already, I know that the only thing that A levels has done for me is that I don't need to convert my grades from uh, because plus two grades are not recognizable in international universities. You just need to convert your grades into their format, and A levels is already recognizable, so they can convert it themselves. That's the only best part that I've seen, but that's because my grades are not the best grades in the world. But some of my friends, some of the people in the universities that I've seen, they can transfer their credits. Suppose if you have got A star in a certain subject, suppose you have got an A star in physics, then the university can suggest that you don't need to do physics for your first semester or second semester because you already have good grades, so we'll already give you the credit and you don't need to take classes. That's the only thing that is great by doing A levels, and it does not guarantee your spot in a good university or your visa approval rates. It's just a grade and it's just an education system. That's all the myths busted. Whether you choose A levels or plus two, it depends on you. A level gives you the flexibility to choose your coursework and gives you the international recognition from universities. But it also comes with cons, here in Nepal especially. Whether you choose A levels or plus two, it doesn't determine your future unless you work hard for it. It's not the course that's going to change your future, it's you and your hard work that's going to change it. So whether you choose A levels or plus two, do tell me in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.